I hope everybody was written an essay in the school days.
Written it,
but without applying any mind. रट्टा मारा था वो डाइजेस्ट में से.
Last 10 minutes. That essay was always written in the
last 10 minutes. I just tried to explain this concept with one anecdote. There was a salesman. He was selling a vacuum cleaner. He knocks the door, enters the room. As soon as he enters the room, he had with him the cow dung and he puts it on the floor. And then he starts saying about his product company, how it is, how the product is good. And then the last line he says that if our product doesn't cleanse this, I will eat all this cow dung. The lady who was very interestingly listening to him, what he is saying. Then she said one line, that, do you want white sauce or red sauce for eating this cow dung? He was wondering why she is saying so. She says that there is no electricity at the home. The moral of the story is that you need to know what you want to speak, where you want to speak, how to place your point. Otherwise, the whatever you say comes on you. So otherwise, जो भी चाहिए, what we say, Google uncle के पास answer for everything with Google uncle. So just keeping this mind in the essay competition. This is third year essay competition. Indira Gopal she was earlier. She had last 2 times also evaluated those essays, and I found that many of the students just made a copy. They did some internal research and have just copy without giving reference of that. At times you may need to copy it, but you need to give bibliography that this is reference, it is coming from here or that part. So when you are putting some point, how you want to put the point, how useful is from the topic perspective, whether you are writing something just to fill up those pages or not. So we thought that at least for the students who are in Mumbai, they can take advantage of this and they can write the essay on it. And for Indira, students are at her heart. She teaches for 11th and 12th standard student. First by profession, she is an advocate. I request Hitendra Gandhi to formally introduce her.
Thank you, Parasji. President sir, office bearers, friends, and of course the speaker of the evening. I have the privilege of introducing Ms. Indira. She is a postgraduate in political science and an advocate by profession, as mentioned. Has extensive experience in drafting petitions and appeals. Has many articles to her credit, and she's been kind and always available to our chamber for contributing to our magazine as well our e-zine, and she would be definitely adding value to the confusion or the double minds that we have about essay, and I'm sure by removing one, as she will be making it more easy essay, and will give us the tips on mechanics of the writing in general and specific with our essay competition that's coming up, because she has her first-hand experience in evaluating the essays in earlier years. So I welcome you, madam, and before I request you to guide, I would request Hitesh bhai to present a small memento as our mark of respect and regards to you. Yes, madam. Yes.
See, even you can give 2-3 hours exactly to the topic of how to write an essay. You can go on for 2-3 hours without completing it, even at 2-3 hours. Okay? But putting it, in the perspective of the current challenge that you have, refer to the brochure that you have in front of with you, which the chamber has given to all of you. In that, there is an emphasis, like a lot of emphasis is given to originality of the essay and content. There are 5 criteria. The first is structure of the essay, second is originality, third is content, fourth is language, grammar and style, and the fifth is use of law, authorities and references. And originality of the essay and content, these carry weightage of 15 marks each. So out of 50, 30 marks are for originality and the content. The rest of it we'll focus on at the end. So let us define what is originality that is expected in general and also at the chamber, and then what is the content that is basically expected of all of you. Now, what is originality? Most of us think that when I write something, it should be absolutely original. It should be brand new. Well, otherwise, I feel defensive. If I find my idea being floating, anywhere on the net or in the book, I say that, my God, this is somebody else's idea. So hence it is not original. Don't think like that. What is originality? The definition of originality in general and also at the chamber is that you analyze the topic first before looking into any resource, any data. Don't collect the data first. Start thinking by yourself first. There are 3 topics given there. So choose one of them, whichever you like, and then you start analyzing it first before looking into, as he said, Google and all. Don't do that. The moment you start looking into Google, you will lose all your confidence, because the kind of information that it comes with, and then you will fall into a lot of confusion. So that is totally not related. I mean, we don't want that. So first you analyze it yourself. Sit for, if you have 1 week's time, suppose, for writing an article, for writing the essay, give at least 2 days for analyzing it yourself. Even if you run into roadblocks, it is absolutely okay. No one expects that you know everything in the world. No one expects that. So whenever you hit a roadblock, make it a point to jot down your own thought process that will ultimately add up to your originality. So once you start thinking about it and you have hit the roadblock, that's the moment you start looking for ideas from other sources like your net and books. So till then, till you complete that stage of analyzing the topic yourself, don't look into Google and all these things. It is like a child lost on a highway. Okay, it will be like that. You will be lost. So then, you will be so confused that you don't know how to find the way out. So don't start collecting data right at the beginning of writing the essay. You first analyze the topic, you frame the issues first. You frame the issue first, find the 4 corners of the issue and put it down on a sheet of paper. That will make your mind and your thought process very clear. You will understand as it is. See, if you see the first topic, 10 challenges to be tackled by Prime Minister. Within the 10 topics, there are, even if you have come up with one challenge, even within that challenge there will be 101 things. You must have hit the roadblock several times thinking of them. So it is very difficult if you start looking for data elsewhere. You start analyzing it yourself. Then, once you hit the roadblock, then you refer to books and Google. Otherwise, you will be lost in the information highway totally. Okay, so that is my first suggestion. And then once you start, you complete the process of thinking and then looking into the ideas from net or book, you will understand that your analysis fits into, you will find that your ideas, those ideas which you think you own are already there on the net. But don't become defensive just because you find they are not original. Don't think that they're like that. What the level of originality that is expected is that you find your way in the big forest of ideas. Did you understand? It is you can say it's a large mesh of ideas. There's a large mesh. It's a very confusing mesh of ideas. Net is a big mesh of confusing ideas. So you find your way in it. That itself is originality. No one expects that each time you write down on a sheet of paper, you come up with something brand new which has never existed in the world. It is not possible. That is not expected of you. If you were doing that very well and good, you will become a Nobel laureate someday. Okay, but we are not expecting that as of now. We expect that you find a clear thought process for yourself. That is the level of originality that is expected. Now, once you have framed your own the ideas, and then you have put it on paper, and then you started looking for sources of various sources of information, then be bold to quote from where you have taken a specific idea. There's nothing wrong with it. In fact, we all look forward to new sources of information and new ideas coming from everywhere in the world. It should not be as if it's only my idea. I mean, most people in the fear that you will be termed as a copycat, they would not quote it. But again, they go back to those issues itself. So that fear, forget that fear that you'll be called a copycat. It's not like that. So you quote from other sources, you build up, and then the next stage comes is that of building up on it. You have thought about it, and then you have referred to some material on the net, and then start building upon it. That is the originality that we expect. That is the kind of originality that is expected. Now, when you start arriving at solutions also, no essay competition for students expects, no organizer expects that you give solutions to all the problems that are there. You can raise questions and leave it there also. It's not wrong. It's not wrong to find a question and then leave it there, because solutions are not always in your hands. You cannot. You may not. If you can find it, well and good. But if you cannot, questioning is leaving at a question is not a problem. You should raise questions. That is the beginning point. Once a question is raised, you may find an answer at a later point of time. But raising questions is important enough, as important as being original. Did you understand? So now once this raising questions point is done, raise as many questions as you can, and then try to answer them, and if you cannot find answer, leave it there. That's not a problem. Raise as many questions as possible. That is another guiding idea for you. And then we often have found that I'll give you one example. What kind of originality is required. Recently, I had written one article on governance through ordinances with the e-sign of the chamber. So in that, first what I did was to thoroughly understand what ordinances are and how they are different from legislation, other kind of legislation and executive orders. So I thought it to myself from my own resources, which I have been building up upon over the long period of time. So once I have understood that this is the way ordinances are different from the other kinds of legislation, I went on to think whether this is, governing through ordinances on a regular basis, is it right or wrong. So I took my own line, and then I decided upon, if this is an evil, then why is it there? Is it a necessary evil, or is it necessary for what purposes? And then I went on to suggest 2 or 3 ideas in which this can be avoided. So, and once I have written it down, I have gone back, as all of you go back to the net, and I have found, I've read Searwai's book, so many constitutional analysis, everything. I read so many judgments, everything. I found that most of the ideas that I have come up with are already there on the net. So does that make my article non-original? It doesn't. It doesn't. Why? Because if you follow that article, I can get it from a copy for you. If you follow that article, right at the beginning, I have made the ideas my own by relating it to, giving it a historical perspective. I gave it a historical perspective to it, and I quoted from some political thinkers like Montesquieu, who has written on separation of powers. And when I did that, when I did my original thought, I have thought about it myself. I had the confidence to pull out a 17th century quotation and relate it to the current circumstances, current events that are going on. So that confidence you will get it only when you analyze it yourself, even if your analysis is going on the same lines as the analysis that is already floating around on the net. Okay, so that is the kind of originality that is expected. Don't be defensive if you find the same idea on the net or in any book. It is perfectly okay, but mind that you always have to quote it. Did you understand? You have to quote it. If you don't quote it, the people sitting here, the judges who are going to look into the papers, they are all tech savvy, as tech savvy as you are. So, and we have read most of the articles that are on the websites, on most of the websites. I know most of the essays they quote from EPW. They take the big sources EPW. So many ideas are, they take it directly and put it there without bothering to mention the author.
What is EPW?
EPW is Economic and Political Weekly. So it is about, that's a very good weekly for all students of law and accountancy and all kinds of professionals, even doctors read it. So it is a very good, resource for everyone. Use it. There's no problem using that. But please quote it. If you quote it, it will be, that shows the confidence that you have in your own thought process. So that's what one is looking for in this. So originality means only your thought process and your capacity to analyze the issue, not coming up with a brand new idea which had never existed in the world. If you are thinking of that, you will, you cannot write an article now. It may be for 10 years from now. Okay, so that is the kind of originality that we expect here. So that is the first point. Now content. When it comes to content, how does your content come? As I told you, originality and content both are related to each other. Now the content of the essay is, you can quote from various sources. You can see, it's about when you are confident with the topic, it shows. We can see, when someone has written an essay, we have not seen you, we have not met you, but we have not seen how you have been working on it. But when we read the article, we understand when you have written, how you have written, from which source you have taken, and how much analysis has gone into it very easily. Because analysis is about finding, as I told you, finding your way out through a mesh of ideas. It is not about finding a fresh idea all the time. So your content builds upon that, your analysis. So give quotations there for building up your content, give quotations there. You can, the most valuable resource for content building is your ability to draw comparisons. You have to draw comparisons, you have to draw parallels from issues that have happened earlier. And you can always, when comparing and contrasting an issue is always very important when you are building up content for your essay. If you do that, that will build up your content, and that shows the originality once again. And any person sitting in judgment of your essay would understand that when you are comparing and contrasting any particular issue, if you are successfully doing it, that means that you have done your analysis well. That is a conclusion usually a person who is judging essays comes to. That's how they judge it. If you are analyzing well, if you are drawing good comparisons, if you are drawing good parallels, if you are able to contrast it, then that means that you have analyzed the topic well. So once you have analyzed the topic well, your language and your style, all these things, they take their own shape. You don't have to work on it. Now I'll give you like one example. Lot of B-grade movies, they have an item song pushed into it somehow or the other. They have to put it. So you will find that they are all bits and pieces. It's all, if you remove that piece, then it is gone. It falls flat on its face. Similarly, we have found that many persons, when they write an essay, what happens is they have found one bit from here, another bit from there. So it's a, you know, it's a pot which is not palatable at all. So that thing is something which you have to avoid. Don't take from here and there and just write a few connecting sentences and there comes your essay. No, it is not like that. Entire essay, right from the first paragraph to your conclusion, should build up. One should lead to the other. That continuity should be there. And when that continuity is lost, we easily understand that this is something borrowed from somewhere. And the moment the connection is there, we find that every paragraph is built upon the earlier paragraph. We understand that there is a lot of analysis which has gone into it, and there we give, usually those who analyze it, those who are sitting in judgment, they give marks for that. So that connection should be there, which is unfortunately most of the time we don't find. All of them are hodgepodge, from Wikipedia, one thing from something else, and then you just, in the last minute, we find that they have written one sentence which connects the first to the second and second to the third. So it is very easy for anyone to find out. If you sit in judgment later on, you will understand that you have done it, you will regret that. So don't do that. You don't have to resort to all those things. All it takes, it's very, very simple to tell you. Just sit down for 1 hour. You are all adults. You just find some time to sit by yourself for 1 hour. You just think about it. You will get your own thread of ideas. You don't have to depend on Google at all. Google is, in fact, it kills all your creativity. It kills your creativity. So if you don't, only for information go there. But if it is ideas, don't go there. There's a fine line which separates ideas from information. So depend on yourself, on your mental resources, and on the resources that you have built upon over the period of your education for building up your ideas. For information, you can go back to the Google. So that is the first and the most important suggestion that I have. And then we have several of the judges who judged this competition. They told me that when they go through the essays, they find that they can easily figure out that yes, this person has written this paragraph while traveling. This paragraph had been written just before someone scolded them, or this is something they have written just after receiving a good scolding. This is something they wrote in frustration, and this is something they have written without thinking of the consequences. So that thing is something those hodgepodge, different pieces. See, we are all very, very busy with them. Everyone is busy. So you can write it at different points of time. But then before submitting it, please take care that you spend at least an hour on how to present it as well. So ideas have come. Now the presentation part, language is sometimes terrible. I find half sentences, and then to make up for the half sentence, because the idea is missing there. So to make up for the lack of idea, we'll go on writing for and everything. Nothing makes any sense at all. So the moment we see such ideas, just keep it something like that. We just keep it aside without even analyzing it, because something which lacks ideas, it is not for this competition at all. So come up with an idea, and the language will usually takes care of itself. And then if you are someone who needs to work on their language, please give time to it, because language is the only instrument which tells us what you have thought about, isn't it? Otherwise no one would come to know about it. So your language needs to be perfect, but at the same time no one expects you to be decorative about your language. Language need not be decorative at all. If you are delivering content, if you are delivering analysis, then it is bound to be very good. No one expects you to write like Shakespeare. Shakespeare has written so many verses, so no one expects you to write in verses and then some onomatopoeia and all those things. No one expects you to do that in an essay. Essays which are of this nature. So what is expected of your language is clarity, and the language should be used as a as a tool for delivering your ideas, nothing else. We don't expect anything else about the language. Now coming to the style of writing. When you have, it's again related to how confident you are with your analysis. If you have analyzed the topic very well, you don't have to consciously put some style into it. It shows. The style comes by itself. So put substance before style. So analyze the topic well, and then the style would emerge by itself. You don't have to really, that's what, if you have read those essays by Francis Bacon and all those people, they have really worked on their styles. They have, because they have the content. They have the content, so they have worked on their style later on. I mean, I have done an analysis on how Bacon has written over a period of 50 years. So the style has emerged, definitely, but it's over a period of 50 years. So no one expects you to suddenly come up with a style of writing. No. So at this stage, what is expected is that your content itself should give some style to the presentation. So don't bother too much about the style. I have seen, without analyzing the topic, many people have started writing about how Shakespeare writes. Let us write like Shakespeare. One fine day, I wake up and I found some quotation by Shakespeare in some newspaper. Yes, let us write like this. No, please don't do that. It won't work that way. First, the content should be fixed, and then the style would emerge by itself. I often found with my own experience that I had never have to work on my style if my content is clear. I don't have to work on it. But generally, an essay is written, a well-written essay has a different, has always a definite structure. That is introduction. You all must be knowing well. Introduction, and then the body of analysis, and then the conclusion. So that is a general style. But if you are good at analysis, it always shows in the style. But you don't have to consciously work on it for hours together. No, don't do that. You don't have to do that. Okay, Bharat, that's how it's done. You don't really have to work on the style and the language as if you don't have to write like, as I said, Shakespeare. Please don't aim at that. We would rather expect you to work more on the content of it. But please don't give anything which is bad in language or bad in grammar. The grammar should be perfect. Otherwise,
what are the different styles? Can you at least some of them, or explain us
the
as
style,
to that this style is different from this style by
the
being
style,
this genes.
If you come to style of writing, then definitely these here, all of them are purely analytical kind of things. And there are other styles like, as I told, they are exuberant in the way of description. And recently I read somewhere, one person said, a bad orator, what he does is he supplements analysis by the length of it. So what I mean to say is, what he meant to say is, a bad orator is a person who would rather concentrate on the length of it and the description rather than on the content. Yeah. So he would put aside, and he would like to appear as if he has done a lot of work by showing the length of it and beautiful language, but it lacks content. So that should not be the case. Description is for describing the nature beautifully, fine. But if it comes to an analytical essay, you need to be very, very analytical, and that analysis itself, it manifests itself in the style. And if you have the time, I don't know how much time you have to develop a specific style. Maybe for the next year it would work. It is always useful to go through Francis Bacon's essays. They were written way back in the 18th century, 17th or 18th century, but then the way he has written, they are logical. It is analytical basically. Even today, if you read Amartya Sen's book, or if you have read Ramchandra Guha's books, yeah. So if you read, these are the leading political writers of India, political history writers in India. I read them thoroughly several times. After reading them for 5 or 6 years continuously, I have understood that they have taken a lot of their resources are falling back to Francis Bacon. They have adopted his style of writing. So, I mean, you can't say that that's the end of it. Bacon must have borrowed it from somewhere else. He must have. The only thing is, I have not gone back and checked. So it is like it's an analytical way of doing things. The style is basically analytical. It's not descriptive. Descriptive is for writing good pieces of poetry or prose on nature or other things. That doesn't apply here. We have to be analytical and logical. Lot of scientific way of thinking would apply to this. Okay, so that is, you don't have to, don't bother too much with the language and the style, so long as your writing style is normal and your grammar is fine. Don't give us a sentence which no one can understand. Your sentence should deliver the idea. So long as it delivers the idea, we are fine with it. Yes.
If we use any one or two Hindi caption in English essay, it's a negative point or positive?
It's not negative at all. Language is not a barrier. If you see Amartya Sen or if you see Guha, they draw their resources from even French writers. That should not be I don't think that should be a hindrance. You can, provided it is connected to your topic, it is relevant to your topic. Just for the sake of the fancy of, he is quoting a French writer, that sounds very bright and all that, don't do that. No one would fall for it, because the judges here, they all know the various ways people, in which people indulge in just to sound bright. Okay, you don't do that. You don't have to put in that actually takes too much of unnecessary time. Don't waste your time on that. But if you can relate it to your topic well, language should not be a barrier.
Because you say that any speech, at the end they will try to quote a couplet of a poet or
Right.
some Sanskrit words.
Yeah, if you
Even in budget.
Budget.
yeah, even in budget, like even Atal Bihari Vajpayee, he always gave so many. He was profusely quoting from Kalidasa and so many things, and it always sounded good. It always sounded good. But it should be related to your topic. Don't quote it just for the sake of sounding intelligent and intellectual and all that. We all like it, we can pull the rug easily.
Ma'am, if I quote someone,
Yeah.
let's just say Kalidasa,
Yeah.
I definitely won't translate it in English because
No.
translating
But
it
you
would-
should understand what
yeah,
you say.
because it would lose its meaning if I
Yeah,
start translating it.
Yeah.
But when I write it, should it be in English like the
No.
script or Hindi script is
If
allowed?
you can manage such things,
No, I
you
can
can do
write
it.
Hindi in MS Word. so
Yeah,
is
you
it
can do
allowed?
that. You can do that, or you can put it in here, the Devanagari script also.
Devanagari script is
yeah,
allowed.
that should not be a
That should
problem.
not be
That should not be a
yes, yes.
problem. There are
Because if you try to write in English, probably the
So you are
sound
asking
may
whether we
change
should go
there.
for transliteration equally?
yes, transliteration is fine.
Like
It
if I
is
have to
fine.
write Q, should I write KYU or just
KYUN is written usually.
Can I
KYUN.
write Q in Devanagari script? itself?
Yeah, you
That's
can.
better because that will give you the proper words. Otherwise, reading may not be easier.
So if you can put
we
it in the
don't
same
have
language.
some of the words
Yeah.
we haven't.
Some of the
It's
sounds are
easy to
missing in
change.
English. So if you can do it, very good. And
Words
if
are
you,
missing.
a lot of sounds are alien to them, which are quite common in our Indian language, Oriental languages, not Indian, Oriental
Other
languages.
scripts are fine.
Yeah, absolutely. That should not be a problem. But don't quote from. I have seen some people quoting from languages which are spoken in Malaysia.
No, I wouldn't.
Indonesia. So that will be very difficult for us, anyone to read. So if it is a language which is not usually commonly known, then you transliterate it into English and write it. Otherwise, if it is Devanagari or Gujarati
Like
or something like
Sanskrit.
that, yes, easily we can, the judges,
Sanskrit is fine.
yeah, Devanagari script basically,
Yeah,
right?
it's
So
okay.
we can easily understand that. So that should not be a problem. So, but always the relevance is the most important. Make it relevant. Don't put it like an item song. Suddenly dump something somewhere and say that and somehow or the other pull it and make a connection. That won't work. All the judges are they are very very they understand these issues very well, and they will, the moment they find it if it comes in the beginning itself, you put it aside, don't go any further on it, because it's a waste of time for anyone. So that is the another thing. Style covered. Yes.
When one essay is restricted to the number of words, so minimum this much words or that much, and but the content is very good. So what do you prefer, the content or the number of words?
See, now it is 5,000 to 7,000 words. 5,000 to 7,000 words. If in those, suppose someone has written to the maximum, that is 7,000 words, someone has written, but it doesn't have even 500 words of his own analysis, then it doesn't work. If a essay comes up with a 3,000, say 3,000 to 4,000 words, that's a minimum. If you write like that, but it has considerable analysis of your own, then definitely people would wait. That should not be a hindrance as such. But for developing content, you need a minimum of something. You cannot develop content in say 500 words. You can't do that. So the minimum is about 3,500 to 4,000 is the minimum. So once you, because the topics are like that. The topics are such that they require an extensive use of language. So you will easily come up with 3,500 to 4,000 words, an easy outcome. So once that is arrived, I don't think you should have any problem. But as I said, out of 7,000 words, 500 words are analysis, then good enough. No one would say because it is only 500 words we are not. No one looks at the length unless it is too short. It should not be too short. But at the same time, you don't have to worry about the thing that if you have come up with a short article, don't think that people will not look into it just because it is short. If it has 500, 600 words of analysis, it should be good enough. No one would, I don't think anyone would put a negative marking for that. So, next thing is regarding so in the 2 years or 3 years that I have seen the articles of students, most of them, all of them are law students or students who are article clerks. I mean, the obvious thing, many do a good analysis, they do come up with analysis, but when it comes to language, I've often found awfully, the sentences are half. That please avoid that. So that shows that you borrowed one idea, but you could not carry it forward in your quest for making it appear as if it is your own original idea. The sentences are one from here, half from here, and then we don't understand. There's a blast over there, and we can't understand any further on it. So make your sentences proper, complete. They should be complete. I often heard from several students that if you are going to be an engineer, then there is no need to study English. If you are going to be a doctor, then there is no need for languages. It's a terrible idea. It's not like that. Language is for everything, and language should be proper. Please concentrate on that. Only thing is, you don't have to be beautifully writing like words for Shakespeare. No one expects that. That is another thing. And
for writing now, they need to have the built vocabulary.
Vocabulary is definitely.
They should develop the vocabulary.
See, there are different ways on working your vocabulary. One thing is, it is unfortunately in our school system, no one teaches us to work on your vocabulary at all. Your vocabulary is as good as a textbook vocabulary. You pick up, in any exam, You pick up from your book and you put the vocabulary, and you are rewarded for it. You are rewarded for it. No one tells you don't pick up vocabulary from the book. Use your own vocabulary. No one rewards that. So we usually fall into the trap of using the same Hisa Pita. We had been using the same vocabulary for the past so many years without meaning anything. So the best way to work on your vocabulary, I mean, it may not work this time because you may be having very short time, but if you are there are law students here. I don't know how many of you are law students. Yeah. So there is one interpretation of statutes. Interpretation of statutes is a very, very, like, it gives you the mechanism of understanding the language. If you have, I mean, I don't think others have done it, must have, you will come across it later on in your life. But then interpretation means looking into the context. Every word, no word has a fixed meaning to it. No word, I mean, the dictionary meaning is not the only meaning. It has to be used according to the context. So that contextual meaning is something, if the dialects, if you take most of the Indian dialects, each word is used in a different way in different places. So that quality of it, the language, the vocab, each word is loaded with several things on it. So when you are using any particular language, any particular word, make it contextual. That is the first principle of writing. When the word should have a contextual meaning apart from the dictionary meaning. So if you put it in the right context, it should deliver your idea. So that is the benchmark for coming up with good vocabulary also. So that keep in mind that vocabulary should always be, it never, many people, the moment you say it is a good essay, that means it's beautifully written, like Wordsworth. I have seen, like, they come up with words which are like, borrowed from somewhere with so much of passion and then put in there, but it loses its effectiveness just because it is not having the backing of idea. So if the content is there, I don't think you should worry much about your language and your style. Most of the Indian students, because we are all educated in the English, English language, most of us have learnt English. I don't think any of us living in Bombay, or I think there are writers from other places as well, but most of us are good in, equipped quite well in the English language, so it should not be a big of a problem. I don't know if there would be specific cases where they need to work on their vocabulary, then it will take quite some time for them to do so. But it's a long process of learning vocabulary. So indulge in it. It will be useful not just in writing these essays. Later on also, whenever you get into, your profession is such that you have to keep writing. How much ever you don't want to write, how much ever you avoid writing, you have to write. Later on, when you enter the profession, it is all about how well you write and how well you express yourself in various modes. So when your vocabulary is right, you can write well as well as read and express yourself, talk well. So when language is not there, you have a major handicap of expressing yourself, because no one would read your mind, you would see the language. So come up with keep working on your vocabulary. It's a long process, it's not a short-term goal. It cannot be achieved overnight. So that is, keep in mind that every word has to have a contextual meaning rather than just the dictionary meaning. So that, all these things come when you start analyzing. I have understood that I cannot work on my style of writing just for the heck of it. If I have the content, my style would definitely emerge out of it. Because basically we all have some style. So once most of us miss content for the sake of style. Like Rajnikant, like, he'll do dishum dishum, but what is the story? There's nothing, no story at all to back it. When there is no story, it looks so odd. It looks like a monkey doing something. I'm not talking about Rajnikant here, there will be Rajnikant fans here. I don't want to offend any. But it should not look like a monkey, acrobatics of a monkey. Language without content looks like that. So make it a point to have the content first. That is most important thing. Then work on your language if you have the time and if you have all the resources. Work on your language. The better the language, always the people would appreciate more.
Online thesaurus are a very good habit to develop over a period.
Yeah.
Not for specific writing of essay, but whenever you come across any new word, I mean, definitely look for 2 or 3 other alternates or the newer ones.
See, I'll relate one incident to you. Like in childhood, most of us are given some vocabulary as frame sentences. Right? You all must have done all those things. The moment the frame sentences come, you write the easiest of the. Suppose the simple word good is there, Ramo is good. That's what we write up. So that's how we end up using language. So avoid that. Make it contextual. If you make it contextual, that even that simple word good will sound good. Otherwise, it looks like Rajnikant, doing some gimmick on the screen. So don't grapple much with your language. You don't have to. If you have the content in place, I don't think most of us have to work on style and language much. But emphasis is always on your originality to the extent that you have put your own thought process into it. The thought process may be someone, maybe it is a thought process which others have gone through already. It is fine. I have found that in most of the cases, what happens is there are several thought processes going on. There are, for example, because I am into political science, I can give you a political example. Politics is always looked into from the angle of right, left or center, isn't it? Center. So that way every issue, even if you take social sides, there are 3 or 4 streams of thought all the time. There are 4 or 5 streams or even 10 streams of thought. But again you can bunch them into 3, left, right and center. So the best way is to align yourself to one particular stream of thought, so that you don't meander from left to center and then middle and then go elsewhere. Don't do that. That shows that you have not done your analysis well. So the best way is to align yourself. First think about it and find out where you place yourself. If you can place yourself in the center, that's fine. If you place yourself in the left, that's fine. Or place yourself in the right. But be there. Arrive there. By yourself. Walk into that stream of thought yourself. Once you walk into your stream of thought, your analysis is done, and then we understand that you have done your analysis well. That's how it is.
Now, when I say talking about speech, there are different ways to start a speech. You can start by an anecdote, like how Paras started, or you can ask some rhetorical questions to audience, or even just normal questions. These are different styles of starting the speech. When it comes to essay, what are the different styles of starting an essay? And second, which style you prefer?
See,
like I can't. It wouldn't be good if I give an anecdote in essay. There has to be something better. So there are different ways to start an essay. Which one you prefer?
An introduction is always an introduction to the topic. Is always framing of an issue. Basically, if say judicial activism, the question of judicial activism is given. I think she would prefer that judicial activism. The moment judicial activism comes, there are thousands of perspectives to it. There is not just one perspective. In your school time, in my school time as well, your question, whenever you are given a question, you are expected to give just one answer to it. If you write the other way, marks will be cut. So they'll say it is wrong, isn't it? As if there is only one answer to any one specific question. It is not like that. In your essay, what is expected is a very wide perspective. Present the widest possible perspective. Give a wide angle to it. All ideas are fine. But ultimately, you have to identify your own path, your own thought process and put it. That's where your challenge lies.
Since you said that we have to put in our own ideas, then we are very thin line between writing an essay and writing an article, because I have to write in third-person language. So my question to you is that would it be appropriate for a conclusion to end in a all the three topics are very analytical.
Yeah, absolutely okay. You raise questions that are very important. When would you raise a question? When would you raise a question? It's not, a question doesn't come artificially upon you. It doesn't dawn upon you. One fine morning I woke up with a question in my mind. It never happens. A question comes to your mind only when you have done your analysis. Ending with a question is also fun. You are students, no one expects you to give answer for everything. Even Nobel laureates cannot give answer to everything. No.
Again, that will be a part of analysis.
Yeah,
Ending with a
yeah.
question.
Ending with a question is very good, in fact. Raising question is actually what is going to help you in your profession. If you raise questions, finding answer for it is someone else's job. You raise questions first. Finding answers is a job of others. You raise, I'll raise the questions first. Finding answers, if you can find answer, very well and good. But if you cannot find answer for it, then also it is fine. Raising question is very important. Only when you raise a question, the process of analysis begins, isn't it? So, raise the questions and you can, see, instead of acting as if you know the answer for it, if you are confident that you have done it genuinely, then you can end it with a question. I have done several times. Paris? I several times I raise questions and stop there. Why? Because it is the job of others who is reading me to answer it. They will do it.
Can you give an example how you ended your article with a question?
I can't remember right now. I think my education, that was full of questions.
Full of questions.
That was only questions.
Yes, example, one thing I can give that in my personal communication, probably month of this is March, February or January, that government, CBT has issued a draft IC income disclosure standard, disclosure standards. They have issued it. Computation and disclosure standards, and at the same time government was always been saying that we want to make the ease of doing business. We should have ease of doing business. With these standards, you need to maintain a separate books of accounts. So the question that I ended my that paragraph, it was not my communication, but that paragraph, that it's the worth debating whether issue of standard is a really ease of doing business.
You can always raise questions and end there. That's not sure. In fact,
By drafting, your answer is undercurrently given also.
Sure.
That you don't subscribe to this,
Yeah.
or you do subscribe to that.
But
That
we
is
put
very
it
obviously
we
made
put
clear.
It's the issues worth debating.
Yes.
and suppose one issue comes and you have given your own idea. You have arrived at one conclusion as an answer for the idea. That doesn't exclude the possibility of others having other solutions or other ideas about it. So always, your brain, train it to have the widest possible perspective and accept the diametrically opposite idea also as good enough. That is also good. It's not as if it is wrong. Just because you hold a different view, it doesn't mean that all other views are wrong. That's what Hitler did. We don't need to do it. If you do that, then you would fall into your own trap. So never do that. Accept as wide an angle as possible, and then the challenge lies out of the whole wide angle that you are giving. The challenge for you is to narrow down where you lie. That's what is a challenge. There are thousands of views. My originality comes in finding out my own route to it. Suppose I am left on in a strange place somewhere. There are roads and roads and roads to it. Many people would go this way, that way, but I can see them and go. I can see the end of it, my goal and go. But how I go is my original way of doing things. The same way have a wide perspective and choose your own small way about it, for coming out of it. That's originality. That's enough for originality. You don't really have to make a new road to it. No one expects you to do that. I hope I made it very clear. So originality is only as regards finding your way in the mesh of things. No one expects you to give a brand new idea. If you give, then we'll submit it to Sweden. If you really come up with something path breaking and some great idea, very well, you can do it. We'll submit it somewhere else, not here. Okay, so that originality is, finding your own way. Even if someone has already done it, it's okay. Admit it that yes, someone else has done it and I am following this way. That's not a wrong thing. A confident person, a person who has thought about it, who has given sufficient time to the article at hand or essay at hand, he would be very confident in quoting from the source from which he or she has taken it. They would be very confident. I always quote without feeling guilty about it. I don't feel guilty just because as you know, knowledge is not, it doesn't come from vacuum. No knowledge is dropped from the top. It always builds up. It's a block upon another block. So your ideas are bound to be built upon other blocks as well. So the ultimate originality comes when you can admit that you have followed this route to arrive at one conclusion. If you are unable to arrive at a conclusion, you can stop at questioning, putting questions. That's enough. That itself is analysis, originality and content, and your style and your language and your vocabulary should take care of themselves, because you are already, you are at least into 15 years of education, 16 years of education, so you will be quite good at vocabulary. That's what I believe. If someone is not good at their vocabulary, that's a long-term process. It will take at least 1 or 2 years of continuous and regular process. It's a regular process. So that's how I feel. If there are any questions.
For the conclusion part, should it be like my opinion or it should be the conclusion of the topic?
Your opinion matters.
Because like in the social sites, so it has got both like goods and bads. So should it be like only one thing? What I feel it is good or bad?
No. You begin with giving it a wide perspective. That's what I told you. When you begin, you include all kinds of all possible ideas into it, and your way out. You find a way out for it, and you express yourself, your own opinion at the end. That's how it works. You express your own idea at the end of it as a conclusion.
But even I can't conclude that
if you
only
can't,
it is positive things or only negative things.
Then raise questions. The best way is to raise questions. Raise questions and stop at that. If you cannot decide whether this is good or bad, or whether you like it, or you raise questions. You be comfortable in raising questions, and you don't have to feel guilty. I'm only asking questions, no solutions in my no. No person has solutions for all. We cannot have, it is not possible. So raise questions, but please raise questions which have automatically emerged out of your analysis. Don't suddenly put up some question just because someone else has asked it. Don't dump them on us. Put real questions which are related to your analysis, which are sprung out of your analysis. And you can end there. You can comfortably end there without feeling guilty. Oh, this is only a question, I have not written an answer. It's not necessary to come up with an answer for every question. Most of the times in such fields, you find that there are no ready-made solutions. Solutions are a mix and match of several things. So don't, one day if you cannot come up with a solution, just stop at raising the question and be confident about it. That's it. Put the question in your mind properly, in an emphatic manner, and stop there. Not a problem.
Use of charts, graph, diagrams.
Of course, yes. That is part of your analysis.
So sometimes students use different causes or underlying things and just to catch attention.
That's what I told you.
Would it help them or?
I've seen. Very.
As if they have no trust on you that you will read the whole thing.
See, that is all. Those gimmicks you will get into only when you are not confident about your analysis. All the judges sitting here, they know when people will use a green underlining, red underlining, or some great sounding quotation from some French author or Roman author. When those techniques We all know. We have also done it several times.
So often said during exams,
Yeah.
when you're writing a paper, you
Yeah.
make it a point to underline it or highlight
Yeah.
it so that.
See, that goes for your board exams and all that. You have done it enough number of times. You don't have to do that. See, you are about to launch yourself on a professional path. So you don't have to do that. You emerge out of it like a cocoon emerging out of the butterfly emerging out of it. Emerge out of it. Don't stick to those school ideas. You're not writing a school idea, and the person sitting here in judgment is not a school teacher. They have experience in a very wide range of topics, and they understand who has analyzed well and who has gone through the entire process of analysis comfortably without stifling oneself with so many other motivations. So if you have comfortably analyzed it, it reflects itself in the way you have written. I have experienced that most of the people, they don't have to really work on a great style of writing an essay. I mean, the style and language and emphasis comes by itself. So the main thing is your content. If it is proper, organized well, and then without any confusion, then there you are. No one looks for anything.
Coming to the issue of colors, now if I'm using a pie diagram, so I'll need to use different colors to.
That's fine. Absolutely fine. We are
Diagrams,
not.
it's okay.
Underlining a word, one with red,
Underlining,
other.
highlighting things just to throw it to the examiner.
In your school examinations and all that, many people, right? Ordinarily you use 1.5 lines of gap. Some people leave a big margin on the top just to make it lengthier. So all those techniques we all know very well. Don't indulge in those things. Don't indulge in new things which we may not be aware of also. We'll get to know that it is a gimmick very easily. The moment we go a little further, we'll understand it. So you don't have to do that. Be confident in your analysis, that's enough. I have seen those who have done a good analysis, they are never worried about how to present it. The presentation comes out by itself. The main emphasis is on content and how you build your analysis, and the logic. Logic should free flow. There should be a free flow of logic. It should not be constrained at different levels. The free flow of logic and organizing capacity. You have bundles and bundles of sheets of information in front of you, how well you organize it and present it. So that's done. I don't think there is anything more. I feel your task is very easy. It's not too difficult.
Just to supplement this, that when you are quoting something, so quoting always goes in support that this is my point.
Yeah.
I have taken, but this point is supported by so and so person also.
Yeah.
That supports your point rather than giving copy to someone. One thing.
Yeah.
Then to just develop a vocabulary, it can't be developed overnight. And art of putting questions. There is one thing you can do every day. Read an editorial part of every newspaper. Have 2 or 3 good newspapers. If you are not, go to an online version. All papers are. You read the editorial part. If you see Economic Times, it has 3 editorials. One will be on politics, one will be on other than politics, and something on the current affairs. Something. If you read those things, you will understand how the questions are put by the editor there. You always put the question. It's Economic Times. The Hindu is also very good. Where you get very good editorial that part. Times of India is there. Whatever newspaper is coming.
And, in fact, another resource I can confidently tell you is about New York Times and the Times Magazine. They have some excellent writers on their board. The way they write, if you follow them carefully on a weekly basis and read those resources, you will definitely improve yourself in your analytical capacity and also your delivering style. Definitely. They read the Times magazine, which is online, available online. Read that, and even EPW. You find EPW
is very good.
Extremely good resource.
If you go to website epw.in, you will find the last 5 issues free every month.
Yeah.
They keep on coming, so that if you are not a subscriber, at least for last 5 issues you can read it. The latest 5 issues they keep it free for everyone.
you
Otherwise, subscription is something for students. It's something
very cheap.
500 rupees subscription is there.
That's your week or
No, it's a quarterly, so it will be for half yearly something like that. For student, it's less than 30 rupees probably.
It's actually EPW is a any professional or a student has to go through it on a regular basis. If you go
Because
through it, I mean, a lot of your confusion will be cleared.
It's a very good critique also.
Yeah.
And you will develop a vocabulary.
Vocabulary and content is always like, you can always get new ideas. A lot of people doing lot of research on topics which are really, you can't even imagine such topics. And then, rural electrification, such kind of topics are also covered, which are usually not even thought about in Bombay. So such kind of off-the-line topics are there, which are delivered in a very good style, and then well thought about, analyzed very well. You find them in such magazines. EPW is something I always look into, and then the Times magazine. Times magazine gives you a very, very wide perspective for anything that they write about. If you read EPW, that gives a sharp analysis of things that are happening in our neighborhood. And if you read Times, you will get a very sharp analysis of worldwide things. Very good resource for that. Anytime you can depend on it, even not just for this essay, but otherwise also you can always depend on these two magazines. So if you want to comment about it, you can build upon your content by reading these things. I don't say copy, but then always you can work upon those ideas. They are very good.
And economics magazine is also equally good.
Yeah.
On the Android phone, you get all these magazines very free. The subscription is around 8 to 10,000. But on the Android apps, you get this magazine free. At least you can go through those things.
Any other question that you have?
No, actually, just as you said earlier, that a topic can have different perspectives, and we have to go with one of the perspectives that we believe. And is it okay that I say that I believe X, I also believe Y? Do I have to write both the things, or it will look that I don't have any clarity on
No,
this?
nothing like that. If you can make it that there are clear that there are two alternatives, these are clearly you make it that there are two alternatives to it, and I subscribe to these two alternatives, though there are several. I subscribe to these two alternatives. That is good enough. Make it clear that there are two alternatives, and I believe in both. You can make
It is not.
no, it's not good.
It's not a debate that you have to either take a side of pro
Yeah,
or con,
yeah.
or
So
favor
that's
or against. It's not that.
every that's what in our school system we believe that each question has one answer. No, each question has hundreds of answers. There are more answers that you can possibly think of and make a note of it. There are so many. So have that wide perspective. That is what is required now. As a school student, we have done enough of writing one perspective. No, now develop the habit of having a very, very wide perspective on things, and then that's what I said. Your challenge lies in narrowing down your own path. See the wider perspective and then adopt a very narrow path that is your own. That's what is originality. You balance, sir. Do you agree with me? That no, originality is not about.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
it cleared even my doubt.
Yeah.
When I lift a pen, I always have somebody already has said it, and I backtrack.
No.
You gave me a confidence to it.
No, there was I attended one small lecture session by Mr. Daruwala. He's a grand old man. He passed away about 4 or 5 years ago. He in the first session he asked a question, and believe me, all were professionals sitting there. He, all of a sudden he just came and quite casually asked one question. Suppose 2 photographers are standing in a beach, and then the sun is setting, both click photograph at the same time. Who gets the copyright? The answer was
Each one gets copyright of his
both of them.
photograph.
Both of them would get. but most of them, the one who clicked first. The answer was the one who clicked first. No, it's not like that. Both of them would get it. So your idea is, don't think that originality is a brand new idea. No, originality is, if you are thinking of that, then you have set standards for yourself which are unreachable, possibly in the next 10 years to come. So don't think of that. Originality is finding your way in the maze of information and data that you have.
Yeah, that's joining dots in a
Jamming,
different design.
in a different way, in your own way. That way again it would match with somebody else's. Don't worry about that. You don't have to be defensive about that at all. But there are, the moment you find your own dots and find your own design, as he said, the moment you find the design, you will be very confident in presenting it, in quoting from sources. You will be very confident in that. I read Montesquieu as a student way back some 10-15 years ago. I recall that Montesquieu said something on this, something like this, so I related it. So that has come because I analyzed it. I didn't depend on someone else's analysis. Though that analysis is something, later on I found that there was someone else who analyzed it in the same way, similar way. But that doesn't make me non-original or a copycat. That doesn't make me. I have done my own analysis and I quoted because I have done it myself. I have analyzed it and I have drawn from my own mental resources. So that's enough. That's originality enough. If I think of an originality like no one has come up with such an idea at all, then well, my essay is not for this. It is meant for something else. No one expects that. Basically, no one expects such kind
I
of.
think even in PhD dissertations,
No.
they don't expect
Yeah,
to be
no,
that
no,
original as you
no,
say,
no.
that something is brand
No,
new,
but
it
if you,
has come to you.
If you take Shakespeare's thousands and thousands of dissertations come every year on Shakespeare, even today, thousands are there. Do you think each time a dissertation is presented, it is an original idea? No, nothing like. Why even Shakespeare borrowed from so many sources? If you are a serious reader, you will understand that he has taken so many things from Chaucer. Chaucer has borrowed from someone else whom I don't know. So that way, originality doesn't mean that you are giving to the world a bright, new, fresh idea which has never occurred to anyone else's mind so far. It is about...
In our scripture, it's rightly said, Vyaso Chishtam Jagat Sarvam.
Yeah. So knowledge builds upon blocks.
Second
One
hand.
block on the other. You place it right, well, then that itself is originality. No one looks for any, that because of that myth that you have to come up with a fresh, brand new idea each time, most of us feel defensive about what we think and the process of analysis that we indulge in. Don't think like that. The moment you abandon that idea, you are so free. You feel, wow, I'm the greatest writer on the earth. It's literally like that. Whenever I pulled myself back thinking, oh, someone else has thought about it, that was their business. This is my business. They have thought about it, I have also thought about it. So the moment I am confident that I have done my groundwork well, I don't have to bother about if someone has done it earlier or not. I will make it my own by going on a different path. That itself is originality. I think that should be enough for you.
One last question. So, with respect to the first topic, since it's organized by the Taxpayers Alliance, maybe would you be biased towards your topics? Because it's a very vast thing. I can come up with 10 topics that someone else also couldn't have.
No. Political ideology or any other kind of ideology would not affect. Suppose I am a leftist. So just because someone is a centrist or a rightist, we won't cut down their marks or have, that is
So
totally ruled out. No way. Otherwise this topic would not have been given at all.
Otherwise the topic would have been more on the text front rather than this.
It would
No,
become
I'm not speaking strictly with respect to tax, but with respect to finance and everything.
anything. You stand diametrically opposite.
What is the important from your perspective, and then you support it.
The whole pursuit, the ideology is like to inculcate thinking, a different sort of thinking, because every idea has a lot of potential.
But then it's always like you want to give, you always want to write what the reader wants to read.
No,
So-
don't fall into that trap at all. Don't. It's a big trap.
Otherwise, it won't come out. Only.
Yeah, it won't come out well. If you are trying to satisfy the person who is reading it, today I am reading it, tomorrow Paras would read it, then Mr. Gandhi would read it, then three people are reading it, we three have different ideas, we won't even discuss with each other, then that's why an average is always taken. So don't worry about what the judge is going to think. If you are true to your analysis, if you are doing it confidently, you should not worry about those things. The judges sitting here would always go for good analysis, whether it stands on the left or right or center or on the sky. You do put
Probably
it.
it may give new ideas to
Yeah.
the judges also.
Yeah. It always, it
That
does
is
happen.
the whole concept of chambers, because it generates a debate and gives a newer ideas. Like many times we have our papers, and the paper writers, when it is open for a debate, then the paper writer says my paper is incomplete to a certain extent after hearing the debate.
And even for this to ease out these things, the paper is whatever the essays that we have, if those top 10 or 15 essays, they will be evaluated by more than one person, and then the marks are average.
Average. There's always
So
an
that the
average.
biasness of any one person gets weeded out or creased out to that extent.
But most of the people who are sitting in judgment of the essays are used to having a fight. they thrive on fighting. So they are exposed to other views and they accept it. They accept that thousands of views exist, out of which mine is only one single perspective. They are all professionals who have been in the profession for a long period of time, and without any fight they won't even accept it. If there is no struggle, if there is no fight, they give it up. There should be, people look forward to something which is challenging. It should, if you are always towing the official line or what sounds politically good or what sounds poetically good, no one would even look into it. I can assure you of that. The judges sitting here, they won't look for it. They would see how well you have analyzed it rather than where you stand on your analysis. You are not a politician, we are not politicians, so we don't look for that. Basically, if you are able to present your idea well, that's enough, wherever you stand. Any other questions?
I'm not the basic kind of, I never read books that, I've never been used to that. Most of my analysis would be whatever I've experienced through newspapers, through documentaries and through the news channels, whatever I've been able to analyze. So how do I put that into the essay? Because I generally won't be quoting it from the book. I might, after the analysis, I might go and refer to certain books and then but most part of the analysis would be based
Quite
on
correct.
the newspapers and the documentaries, whichever I've
You
seen.
would quote the publication and the date and
But is it necessary to quote also?
no, I mean, see, it is, if you are coming up with a quote as a substantial part of your argument, then you make it a point to cite, give a citation to it, which is the publication, which date. We'll go back to it and read it. Why? Because whether it really relates to your argument or not, we need to find out. So if you give the proper citation, we will go through it and see if there is a real connection or you are just doing it for the sake of building up your content. The judge would definitely look into the source that you have quoted and relate it to your argument. If they can find a good relationship between these two, then definitely that's a good quotation, we'll accept it. But if suppose there's no relationship at all and you have just quoted it from anywhere, whether textbook or some newspaper or some magazine or some treatise of somebody, you need to quote properly. If it forms a substantial part of your argument, then you need to quote it. That will be appreciated, in fact. As children, we were always told, don't copy. But this doesn't amount to copying at all. This is not copying. This is building up own ideas. But don't do an anomalic job at all. So that's, that should be fine. If any other questions are there. Yes.
With this, you got the insight how to write an essay. This is not a essay merely that then you will also be able to, once you develop this thought process, you will be able to do it in a professional life also.
Yes.
This is not, the essay is just a process by which we want you to get your thought process refined and move in the right direction. Because someone may say that for if you are 11, 12, the students say that we take optional subject instead of language. You always go for optional vocational subject. वो scoring ज़्यादा है. But that's, each person has their own objectives or what experience they have learned. But ultimately, language is the thing. Without the language, you can't express
You are
yourself.
handicapped. Without
You can't
language,
express
yes.
yourself.
Develop, I mean that's a long-term goal, but make it a short-term goal as well and work on it. I'm okay with that. You should work on your language and your vocabulary part of it. It always beautifies in addition to delivering the content. You use good language, that is always, makes the first impression. If you use really nice, good language which suits the content, then any person reading it would be impressed. So keep in mind content, analysis, content, and then presentation in the same order, and then write down.
Is it necessary that we should use very rich and good vocabs?
That's what I told you. If
It
you
could
are,
be simple also.
be simple. That's what I suggest. क्यों Paris?
No, vocabulary should not be such that when judge need to take a dictionary and see.
You don't have to be ornamental. If it delivers the content, even the simplest of the words, if it delivers your analysis, that should be enough. Use language only as a machine to deliver your idea. Don't make it, in childhood you do that, beautifully write it and then add some mustache to it, here is that, and you make some leaves and all that. Don't do that. You don't have to do that. Your language should be precise, sharp. That actually conveys your idea and your analysis. Concentrate on that. Your beautiful language is not going to make any impression upon, just beautiful language is not going to deliver anything at all. If it is backed by content, very good. That's what people would look for.
For vocabulary, there is a book called Vocabulary in 30 Days by Norman Lewis. I have a Google search, probably book online available will be there, or you can buy it. So that will give initiation to how to develop a vocabulary. It's not a very good book, but you will get those steps to develop the vocabulary.
See, with this essay competition, Paris, with your permission, this essay, writing an essay, I felt that it is a liberating experience even for someone who aspires to be an engineer or a medical student also. Why, the moment you start thinking, even the thought of writing an essay, it will require you to gather all your ideas at one place, thrash it down to a small thing. It is a very, very analytical procedure. If you are serious about writing essay, you can, it will enrich a person who is into medicine also. A person a doctor, if he writes about politics also, it will be beneficial to him. Several times I tried to push the logic that even if you want to be a doctor or an engineer, write one essay. That is so very liberating and it teaches you so many things even about your own profession. Do that, write, make it a habit to keep writing. Most of us in our school days have done an insincere job of it. Don't do that. Be sincere with it. It will definitely give you, it will add some angle to your personality. That is definite. A person who writes well, it means that they have read well and it means that they are analytical. And being analytical is what is required for every person in any profession. So do that. Writing an essay is always, if you sit down and write, so many of your confusions will come to your forefront of your mind and you will try to solve them. If you don't write, ideas are always scattered everywhere and you are always confused and you don't even know that you are confused. So start writing. You will sort out several, you will come to know what your confusions are and you will try to solve them. You may not be able to solve it at that moment, but you will understand and you will be able to speak well also. you'll be able to speak well. If you write well, that is your privacy. If you have to speak in public, you have written it, so you know what you are going to say. Then you will be more confident when you speak in public. So the first step to profession is, in fact, writing an essay. You should write as many, even if there is no competition. Keep writing, gathering your ideas, putting them on a paper. That's a very essential process for everyone, whatever age, whatever profession they are into. That's what I have experienced in all these years. क्यों पारस sir? आप तो if you write something, even just 2 sentences, it will clarify so many of your doubts. Do that. Even after the competition is over, you keep writing, and there will be plenty of opportunities to write. In your future life, you will be spending half your life on writing. You have chosen such profession where writing is very, it's predominant. So make it a habit to write as much as you can.
In school days, the other point which we always ignored was the pressy writing.
Yeah.
That is why these are very actually important, like pressy writing, comprehension, and the writing of these
The
essays.
thing is, the funniest part of it is you have realized after you have crossed this question.
But as you rightly said, it's not very well evaluated. So then that's why we don't make it.
Yeah.
Even
See, it's a vicious cycle.
suppose now even if you are writing an essay, you have so many ideas. Now once you want to put it on the paper, it's very difficult.
Very
After having put on the paper also, you will expand so many in such a manner that you don't know how to cut short and condense the same thing. So it becomes like a pressy writing again.
Yeah. Paras will tell you, every time he asks me, Indira, have you finished it? I said, yes, I am almost typing. And then after typing it halfway through, I said, Paras, I need some more time. I again borrow time from him. I go back because I understand as I am writing and as I am typing that my idea is not clear. It is not well expressed. Then I go back again and then think about it, and I make sure that that process should go on. So this is basically you are learning to analyze in a systematic manner. So do that. It is always helpful to you, whether you are a chartered accountant or a law student, whatever. It always helps to be analytical. So read Bacon's essays if you have the time. They are very, very good, extremely good. You find, in fact, some of the accounting principles, some of the legal process of thinking, these are all there in Bacon's articles. Very excellent. The language employed is beautiful, and also the content, original thought, beautiful. So read them whenever you find time. You may not find time now, but gradually build upon your reading. It should see you through. Anything else?
Yes, it would be definitely a pleasure to offer a very well-deserved vote of thanks to Ms. Indira Gopal, and Madam, you have really enlightened all of us, including me, I would say, with all modesty, that the tips that you have offered us would go a long way in building our career, and I would request all of you to carry the vote of thanks with an applause.
Please come up with nice essays. We all are looking forward to reading something really nice. I wish you all the best.
Thank you. Of course, thanks to you for sparing time for even.
You have so many.
Sorry to listen right now. Actually, you said that things such as
On the way,
colors and
set for the full session, that was really nice of
no,
you.
I'll tell you my issue. My issue is I'll be using pie diagrams and chapters. Therefore, I have to make them colorful.
Yeah.
So that they look interesting.
Yeah.
And therefore, if I'm using colors, I definitely won't submit my essay in black and white. I use color paper.
Of course, yes.
So would it be regarded
No.
as a given?
I'm telling you, if it delivers the content,
Content, that is important.
that's enough.
It should suit your content. If it's not suiting, the way she said that it should not be the item song in the